Hey guys, welcome back to another battle report. Today we're going to be continuing our playthrough of The Walking Dead All Out War, and we are currently going through the Safety Behind Bars expansion. So today's mission is Chapter 5, Mercy Mission. So it says, with Thomas locked away following the gruesome killings of Rachel and Susie Greene, Patricia took pity on the homicidal maniac and attempted to break him out. So here we find ourselves back in our prison, and this is the Blacksite Studios. This is actually their police station, but we've broken it down into 2 levels and turned it into our prison for today. And that is the McFarland Guardhouse Tower and the Plastcraft Prison Yard Fence Kit. It makes for a really good looking prison set here. So for this mission, if you want to listen to me, you can stick around. If not, use the timestamps down below in the description and you can jump straight to turn 1. This mission we're going to have 5 survivors broken down into 3 teams. We start out with Patricia and Thomas, and they are going to be locked away in one of the prison cells. Well, actually, Thomas is locked away and Patricia is going to be breaking him out. Then we have Andrea and Maggie, and they're going to start back in the cafeteria, and then Rick starts outside in the prison yard. So there are 3 supplies, 1 in the tower, 1 in the prison cell, and then 1 inside of the prison office. And each team has a chance to win. So for Thomas and Patricia to win, Thomas has to make it off of the board edge. Now we're going to go through the main gate right there, or off to the left. For Rick and Andrea and Maggie to win, they just have to kill Thomas before the end of the game. Alright, so there's our board. Let's go around and start turn 1. Alright, so we're going to go ahead here and start turn 1, and we're going to start out with Thomas. Before Thomas activates, I'd like to thank all of the new viewers that we've been getting on the channel. Last check, we had about 70% of the viewers were not subscribed. So if you're watching the videos here and you're enjoying them, please go down and subscribe to the channel. Now back to the game here. So Thomas is going to start out, and Thomas has to get off of the board. So he's going to make an 8-inch move out of the cell and into this long hallway here. So Thomas makes an 8-inch run move out of the cell, and because we're indoors, when we enter into that long hallway there, we have to spawn walkers. And to do that, what we do is we roll 1 red die. Alright, so this hallway is going to have 0 walkers in it. Alright, and that's going to be all Thomas's actions. And for Patricia, we're just going to have her do the same thing. She's going to come out of the cell, 8 inches, and follow right up there behind Thomas. We're just going to blow right by that supply token because all we're trying to do is get him to freedom. Then we come around here to Andrea and Maggie, who are going to start out inside of the cafeteria, which is this far room back here, and we're going to get Maggie to make an 8-inch run through that doorway and out there into the hall. Like that, and again, because that's the first time entering into that part of the room, we have to spawn walkers. Alright, so we have 1 walker spawn out there in that part of the building, and if you're wondering why Maggie is running towards that wall, it's because that wall leads into the other side of the prison, close to where Thomas and Patricia are. Okay, and then down here for Andrea. Andrea again, 8-inch run straight through, trying to get over there to Thomas to take him out. So let's move her. So Andrea goes ahead and runs out of the room, up here behind Maggie, and because she created noise, that's going to cause the closest walker within 10 inches to make a shamble move towards her, which means that that walker is now in contact with Andrea. All right, then we come out here to Rick, who starts out in the prison yard, pretty much surrounded by walkers. So we're just going to try to get him to go close to the doors to the prison so he can intercept Thomas as he flies outside of the building. So to start with, we're going to take Rick and sneak him 4 inches closer to the prison doors, which will leave him just outside the kill zone of the punk rock walker there. And we're just going to take 1 action with him. All right, that's all of our actions for the first turn. Let's go ahead and check out our first event card. And we are still at threat number 1. So we're going to +1 up to 2. And still at all quiet, so nothing happens yet. All right, so we'll catch ourselves here early on in the game and try not to make that mistake again. Before we did the event card, we should have done the kill zone phase. The only person going to be affected by that is Rick. So what we're going to do is move the punk rock walker over into contact with him, just like that. And now we can go ahead and start melee combat. So threat will go up by 1 again. We are at 3, and we can start out with Rick against 1 walker. So Rick against 1 walker in combat. Rick has a white die as his base melee, and he's also armed with a hatchet, which is going to give him another white in melee against 1 walker who will be rolling 1 single purple die. Alright, and Rick is easily able to defeat 1 walker in combat. And now we'll come around to Andrea against a single walker. Alright, so Andrea against 1 walker in combat. Andrea is the prison sniper variant in this game, so her melee is going to be a base white. Now Andrea is armed with an M4 carbine, but I don't want to shoot that into melee combat. So we're going to have 1 white die for Andrea against 1 purple for the walker. So Andrea manages to win combat, but she doesn't roll the headshot, which means we move the walker back an inch and mark him prone. That's going to be the end of turn 1, and before we up the threat, let's go ahead and roll for that prone walker to see if he stands back up. Alright, so for the prone walker, we roll the 50-50 black die, and on a badge, he will stay down. On a blank, the walker will stand back up. Alright, so the walker stays prone. We are going to up the threat to 4. Be at the top of low threat and get ready to start turn 2. Alright, so start of turn 2, the threat is on 4, and we started out with Patricia and Thomas in turn 1, so turn 2, we'll come over to the good guys and start with Maggie. So Maggie's going to start the turn and make an 8-inch run through that wall, which again leads to another room on the other side, and we'll see where she comes out at over there. All right, and this here is probably the best angle to show where Maggie went to. So over here, we have Andrea, and remember Maggie was standing right next to her. So Maggie went this way, through this, which connects to this room, and now 8 inches later, she is all the way over here, right next to Thomas and Patricia. So that will be all of Maggie's actions. Now we'll go over and do the same thing for Andrea. She's going to move 8 inches as well, be right over there, right behind Maggie. All right, so it doesn't look like anything happened, but we now have, Andrea's over there as well. And we're not going to spawn any walkers inside of here because we play this as one long, continuous hallway straight down through there. And with Maggie, we're only going to do 1 action with her as well. They both made noise, but there are no walkers to attract to their new location. All right, so here we can kind of see where everyone is clumped up at right now. So we're going to jump over to Thomas, and Thomas is going to make an 8-inch run through those doors and try and get out of the prison, or at least into the lobby here. So Thomas sprints ahead 8 inches and winds up right at the doorway to the prison. And because, again, he's in that new room up there, we're going to spawn some walkers. Right, so out there in the front part of the prison, we're going to spawn 1 additional walker. All right, so we spawned 1 walker outside of the survivor's kill zone, back there in the corner, and we'll come back around to Patricia, who, just like Thomas, is going to go 8 inches as close as she can get up there to him, which will then create noise and pull that walker in to her because of that. And then we come out here to Rick, and Rick is going to start out his first action by using his leader ability, which is Stay Calm, to reduce the threat by a blue die. All right, so we will reduce the threat by 1. Bring the threat back down to 3. And then for his second action, trying to get back over close to the front of the prison, we're going to make a run action, full 8 inches, and try and get right next to the door of the prison. All the way over to here, and that's also going to draw in the closest walker to Rick. All right, now that's going to be all of these survivor actions for turn 2. Looking at the board at the kill zones, there is no one to really check for because everyone is either in contact with someone or there are no walkers close to anyone. So our next event card will be The Walking Dead. So +2 to the threat. We were at 3, so we are now up to 5. So at low threat, we're going to have double white walkers enter play, and the same walkers are moved towards the nearest survivor. All right, so we're going to bring this many new walkers into play. All right, so we roll a 2, and we're going to bring on 2 additional walkers to the board. So one of the rules in this scenario says that any new walkers that are brought on by event cards have to come on from the escape edge. So that is going to be either through the prison gate or off the right side of the board there. So we're going to bring in 1 walker from each side of that. So we bring them walkers on, and then it says they are moved towards the nearest survivor. So we have one that moves and runs into the fence there, and the other moves 6 inches closer to Rick. All right, so event card done. We'll move into melee combat. So again, threat up by 1 to 6, and we'll start out with Rick against 1 walker. All right, so again, Rick in combat, 2 white against 1 purple for the single walker. All right, so again, Rick wins combat, but we don't get the headshot, so back an inch and prone. And now we come inside the prison, and we're gonna have Patricia against 1 walker here. All right, so Patricia in combat. She is going to have a red as her base. Now she's equipped with a .22 revolver, which is a handgun, so we could shoot that in the melee combat, but we're gonna hold on to that, so hopefully we can use it outside against Rick potentially. So for her, we're gonna have 1 red die for her against 1 purple for the single walker. All right, so Patricia is able to headshot that walker and take them out of play. We got 2 prone walkers still that we have to roll for, so let's go ahead and do that now before we end this turn. All right, so first walker back inside of the prison, stands up, and this is the walker that Rick just knocked prone out in the yard. Stays prone. That's going to be all of turn 2. We'll up the threat by 1 because of solo play to 7, and get ready to start turn 3. All right, so start of turn 3, threat is up to 7, and this is where the game is going to get interesting because survivors are going to start interacting with each other. So we're going to start with Patricia, and Patricia is going to make a 8-inch run out of the prison, take a hard right, and move over towards this corner, which will bring her down to here, creating noise, moving the closest walker within 10 inches of her, which is the big walker over there against the fence. He's going to move 6 inches in a direct line to her, and that brings him into contact with Rick. So Rick cannot activate in this turn now, which should give Thomas a clear path out of the prison and straight down. And with her leftover second action, we're going to try to reduce the threat. All right, so we try to reduce the threat. On a badge, it will go down, and on a blank, it will stay at 7. All right, so we can reduce the threat, but that was a great play by Patricia to tie up Rick like that, giving Thomas more so a straight shot out of the prison. And I know that you're probably yelling at your phone, your monitor, or whatever. Dan, you're not alternating characters the way that you should be. So we'll do that now. We took a turn with Patricia. We'll come over to the good guys and take a turn with the good guys. And for that, we're going to come over to Andrea and have her start her activation by moving. All right, so Andrea just makes a 4-inch sneak action, and she's a little difficult to see right there because of the lighting. There she is. 4-inch sneak action right there into the doorway. She's got a clear shot at Thomas across that countertop, so let's take some shots at him. All right, so typically shooting across that counter would give Thomas some kind of cover advantage, but because Andrea has the special rule of expert shot, it says when she performs a ranged attack, she may force the target to discard a cover die of their choice, which is what we're going to do. So he gets no cover from that. She has a M4 carbine, which will shift down here to the dice, and I'll explain what we'll be rolling. All right, so Andrea has a blue as her basic shoot value, and the M4 carbine gives her an additional white when she rolls the range attack. The M4 carbine has a 20-inch range, has multiple shots, and is reliable. So we can fire this up to 2 times So she rolls that, and Thomas in defense rolls a single red die. So we'll roll all 3 of these together, and this will be the first shot. Alright, so after the first shot, Thomas already takes 3 points of damage because he rolls nothing on his defense. So that takes him down to 1 point of damage left over before he's dead. Alright, so Andrea's going to kick back up and get ready to take her second shot at Thomas. Alright, second shot. Alright, so after 2 shots with the M4 carbine, Andrea has just smoked Thomas. Alright guys, and that is it. So that game ended pretty quickly once Andrea got Thomas in her sights. That prison sniper version of Andrea is not something to take lightly, especially when you give her a really nice rifle to tote around with her. We had Rick tied up here outside the board on that nice play by Patricia, but it didn't matter because Thomas didn't even make it outside of the prison. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure you go over and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try and get as many of these out as possible. I know a lot of people are looking for some new stuff to watch on YouTube, and it looks like there's been a lot of new interest in this game in the Facebook forums. So hope you guys enjoy them as much as I do. Check out some of the terrain reviews. I'll leave links to them in this video as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.